don't think there's any toxic masculinity.
Elaborate.
Well, I think that when we talk about masculinity, we talk about femininity. We tend to move towards kind of established social traits, or what the leftists would call gender, right?
Yeah.
So we say, okay, gendered male trait is, X, Y, Z, because that's masculine.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's deeper than that, and masculinity and femininity come from ontology itself, or the nature of what man is and what woman is. And that there's some things there which are inescapable that only those two sexes can do, and the other one really can't do it well, if they can do it at all. Those are really the traits I would consider to be masculine traits or feminine traits. I don't think that women ever do well, for instance, with stoicism, though I think that there's some women who could, right? By and large, they do not do well with this because it's not part of their nature to do well with that.
Agreed.
However, I think on the other hand, the kind of nurturing that women can do is part of their nature, that men, though some can do it, will never be able to be mom.
Yeah.
And that's why even the old saying goes, even bad men love their mamas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Men love their moms, right?
Yeah.
They adore them because there is some form there which is deeper than just femininity.
Yeah.
Even if their mom is kind of masculine, they still love her to death because there's something deeper there than just, oh, it's feminine.
Yeah.
There's this kind of deeper ontological question that we can't really even get to because we just describe it on the surface level as a feminine quality, but it's not. It's a quality around the nature of what a mother is and how she is. And we know it when we see it, and I don't think we can ever adequately describe it, though men understand it, and I think women understand it. So when you say toxic masculinity, what you're really just saying is traits inside of social circles that we consider masculine. Whatever the fuck that means. What does that mean?
Nowadays, who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, in any days, what would that exactly mean? I'm not sure.
So going back to the masculine and feminine, I guess my definition of it would be masculine is provider, protector, feminine is more nurturing, keeping the culture of the family alive, being the soft one, quaint, uplifting, elegant, empathetic. And I think men thrive most in their masculine and women thrive most in their feminine. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I think that it's hard to give a kind of descriptor for which of those things is masculine and why, right? So like, I think nurturing is masculine. It just depends on kind of how we're applying these terms, right? So is there anything, for instance, when your son is sick, if you stay up late with him while he has a fever and you take care of him, I would say that that's very nurturing.
Yeah.
Would you feel like a man was less masculine for doing that though?
No, I guess you got a point because the terms aren't absolute.
Yeah,
so
they don't.
It makes sense.
They don't really apply concretely, and it's through that kind of vagueness that gender ideology has been able to rise up to begin with. The trans ideology to begin with is through the ambiguity of being able to describe a much deeper issue,
right?
Which is what is of woman and what is of man.
Yeah,
it's not just what is of the masculine and what is of the feminine, but what makes up a woman, her entirety of her being. What do we think of when we think of woman? Do I think that the physiological component of that is super important? I do. When I think of a woman, I think that she has a vagina, right?
Yeah,
I think she has 100%. A vagina. She has boobs. I mean, that's what I'm the second you say woman, that's what I picture right, in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those.
Yeah.
But I also, you know what I think we picture more than anything? The thing we associate with woman more than anything else is reproduction.
Yeah.
And so since we think of it in terms, even women think of it in terms, right? Can reproduce.
Yeah.
Can reproduce. I think that all of the things that go with that can reproduce is of woman. Yeah. And so we encapsulate these kind of minuscule things like femininity being like grace and nurturing and things like that. I think that those capture a surface level of what we mean when we think of woman. I think that women have a specific ontology. It's very hard to describe, but that men can't be whatever that is.
Yeah, facts.
And women cannot be whatever that is in reverse to the man. They are not interchangeable widgets. What is of man is not of woman, and what is of woman is not of man.
Yeah.
And that is that. And because it's so hard to encapsulate these ideas verbally into descriptors, it's through the vagueness of language that these sort of like leftist prongs can sneak in and cling on and say, because you couldn't give me like this kind of perfect overview
Right.
of a thing that you can only descriptively sense,
Right.
then therefore the thing doesn't even exist, right? So it's pure fucking madness.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you, right? I just don't even think that you're capturing the image of what a woman is enough through the
Yeah.
descriptors. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense.